The video starts with this high-end vehicle moving around an area near three men. At first, it looked like the driver was looking for parking space, but something sinister was about to happen here. The three men had their guard down there as they were not about to suspect anything foul from the Mercedes-Benz, but they would soon learn how tricky it can get in South Africa. The vehicle started to move towards the exit there as it got closer to the three men there. Suddenly, a man came out holding a firearm going straight for one of the three there. These culprits had been targeting this man for a while. The man was wearing an expensive Rolex watch. Once they took the valuable wristwatch, they entered the getaway car and escaped the scene. In South Africa, whenever you see three men walking like this, just know that trouble is brewing for you. The man in the white shirt had no idea what was about to happen to him. This was now a full-blown daylight robbery. These culprits are notoriously known in the nation. Locals know too well to regularly keep an eye on their surroundings when walking the streets, be it in the daytime or nighttime. They eventually finished stripping this man of his belongings and left the scene. This was at a restaurant in South Africa. The waitress can be seen serving tables there in what seemed to be a relaxing place. But this was about to become something else in a few moments. The culprit was disguising as a fellow dinner there, but he had malicious intentions. He targeted that lady as his getaway car waited for the clown there. The people were not taking any of that as they went straight for the man trying to end his circus there. That clown was moments away from meeting his maker there as the crowd were ready to teach a lesson. Fortunately, the lady escaped this scary encounter with minor injuries. Props to the people for standing up to this disgraceful behavior. On the next video, we see a young student walking down the street. A car can be seen coming from the opposite direction. It suddenly becomes a robbery as these culprits targeted the young lady. She had no chance there as this happened fast in the most terrifying way possible. Fortunately, she was left physically unharmed, but the emotional damage can be bad. From her reaction, we can see how this really affected the young student. In this scene, this man was pretending to buy something inside the shop, but he had a devious plan in mind. He had noticed a lady and her daughter inside the store and had set his sights on these innocent people. From his movements, it starts to show how something is off here as he kept looking over towards the young girl, while pretending to be focused somewhere else. He was probably calculating his moves and his route of escape once he executed his foul plan. We see as he went outside the shop to alert his fellow clown as he was about to do the unthinkable. The getaway vehicle came closer moments before the act. We then see the lady and her daughter leaving the shop. Right then, the clown grabs the phone and runs towards the car. The lady and her daughter tried to recover the phone, but it was too late. We can see how dangerous it got because right behind the car a huge truck was passing by. These culprits followed a vehicle into the parking lot. The lady had no idea she had been targeted here. The moment she came out of the vehicle, it was already too late for her. She tried to retaliate there, but it was a bit too risky. These culprits are reckless and have no regard for human life. This scene is an example of why you should never leave your gate open in South Africa, no matter how safe it might seem. These two people seemed to be discussing something, but they had no idea what was coming next. Their meeting was about to be joined by an uninvited guest. The culprit must have been monitoring these two for some time from a distance. Their discussion continued for a while here, but moments later the culprit decided to make his move. The men calmly walked into the premises. He then produced a firearm and demanded for valuables from the two. He even went to the open car to look for more staff there. This must have been terrifying for these two people. They had no idea if the culprit was about to drive off with the vehicle or not. The man was really nervous there once the culprit approached that truck. They were now regretting leaving not only the gate open, but also the truck there. Fortunately, the culprit decided to leave the area without physically harming the two, but this was not yet entirely over. The man decided to come back after noticing a third person coming out of the building. These illegal firearms are truly wreaking havoc in the nation of South Africa. This vehicle was followed home by these culprits. We see as they tried to enter the garage here. At that moment, another car approaches from the back. This was now a trap as there was no escape route. It is always recommended to check your surroundings when approaching your home. Culprits tend to follow vehicles home before pouncing when an opportunity presents itself. The culprits went straight to work there as they robbed the people of their valuables. The car was now being used as a blockage to stop the victims from escaping. Another car was out of frame here as we see more and more culprits joining this foul act. They eventually finished their heist and escaped the scene. On this case, we see a vehicle slowly moving in this parking area. The occupants had no idea what was right behind them as they had been followed. Another car can be seen reversing into the parking space behind the first vehicle. These culprits were now positioning themselves to prepare for the escape after the heist. They went straight for the unsuspecting victim there as he tried to shield himself in this terrifying situation. They finished the heist and escaped in the getaway car. The man might have had a firearm as we see him try to retaliate there in his own way. On this scenario, the targeted man had no chance to react there. The culprits were coming from every possible direction. This must be one of the hotspots in this area. These culprits use these tactics where they come from different directions once they select a target. It is always advised to limit passing between two people in dangerous areas, mostly in South Africa. Pedestrians should always be alert and be aware of their surroundings. There was no escape for this man, as he was now sandwiched between several men as this became an onslaughter. They were stripping him of anything they deemed valuable. Most of these culprits steal these valuable and sell for cheap, just to buy stimulants, and the vicious circle continues on. This young lady was coming from her class when the unexpected happened. The culprits noticed her along the street and decided to take their chances here. They wanted the bag and the phone from the young lady, but she was not about to give it up. The bag had her master's thesis, and she was not about to lose all that hard work to these clowns. We see as she fought for that bag as she was being threatened in the process. This must have been beyond terrifying for this young lady. They finally gave up after realizing that she was not bulging in any way. Fortunately, she escaped this scenario in a good condition physically.